I fly FPV drones for about 6 months now. I'm not doing it as often as I wish anyway. I would like to tell you about some lessons I learned and the mistakes I made, so sit back, relax and watch this video till the end. Let's take off! Hi there, welcome to the Vladiographer channel. I'm Vlad and I'm videographer. Before I dive into my FPV journey, let's quickly go over the equipment I use and a small fleet I fly. My radio controller is the TBS Tango Pro II with the foldable sticks, paired with the DJI Goggles Integra. My first FPV quad was a Whoop from AxisFlying, the Cineon C20, this little 2-inch guy. The second one is the iFlight Nazgul Evoque 5-inch, that cat version without GPS. And the GepRC CineLog 35 with pre-installed GPS. As for charging, I began with the compact ToolkitRC M7 AC, and then I also got the powerful ToolkitRC Q6 AC. Of course, I didn't buy all these at once, I gradually acquired the necessary gear, but let's take it step by step. I decided to start flying FPV when I worked on board a cruise ship as a head broadcast technician. You can check out some videos about this on my channel. I had some funds to buy all gear I needed, but I faced a unique challenge. Drones are restricted on board, meaning they would be confiscated if discovered. Despite this, I was determined to start my FPV journey. The first thing I bought was a radio controller and I started practicing in the liftoff simulator. Due to my constant time on board and the restrictions on purchasing and receiving specific items like drones, for example, I trained in the simulator for about 3 months before I finally got my first Whoop, the AxisFlying Cineon C20, a little 2-inch quad. The day of my first real flight finally arrived when we docked in Costa Maya, Mexico. It wasn't easy finding a suitable spot surrounded by dense jungle, but my friend Andrew and I managed to find a place to give it a try. I was so naive to think the small space we found would be enough. First crash, second crash. I was crashing again and again. Flying a real drone is vastly different from a simulator. That's not to say simulators are useless, they're essential, they're mandatory, but the feeling of gravity in real life is different. I set a personal record for crashes that day, turning my shiny new quad into a dusty damaged toy. That's when I realized I need to stock up on spare propellers, they're definitely expendable. During our subsequent visits to Costa Maya, I found a football field that offered a more spacious and forgiving environment to practice. This helped me a bit to build my confidence. Later I discovered another good spot by the beach area. As I was told, flying in different spots helps you grow as a pilot. That's why I always seeking new places. On another visit to Costa Maya, I took my first flight over water. It was quite nerve-wracking, but everything went smoothly. After a while, I also managed to fly my little friend in Belize. In Cozumel, Mexico, I found a great spot not far from the pier, a sports court area where I flew a few times. Soon after, I received a new 5-inch iFlight Nazgul quad. I discovered another larger sport court area in Cozumel that was nearly empty, perfect for a newbie like me. Flying the 5-inch quad after getting used to the 2-inch Whoop was insane. I even tried flying some gaps and other basic tricks, which were incredibly exciting for me. After finishing up there, I still had some charged batteries, so I moved to a beautiful spot by the water with a lighthouse. Here, along with the boring back and forth flying that still made my heart beat out of my chest, I also tried to do some basic elements like this orbit, for example, or whatever it was. Also that day I rented a scooter and had plenty of time, so I explored more locations. This yacht club, for example, with lots of space to fly. Yeah, definitely. Flying an FPV drone offers incredible experiences and a powerful adrenaline rush. If you are seeking new, vibrant sensations to liven up your routine, I highly recommend considering this hobby. However, be prepared to invest at least $1,000 or more to build a decent setup with a DJI digital video transmission system. Also factor in the time for extensive training, especially if you are an adult and have never flown a quadricopter before. I continued a test drive of Nazgul that day and moved to the next location, the stony shoreline. And finally, back to the sports courts where I had flown my UWP before. I used up my last battery here flying the Nazgul, and I have to admit, even this fairly spacious area already feels a bit cramped for a 5-inch quad powered by 6S batteries. By the way, this is one of the most important lessons. Be careful with the power lines, they are your worst enemies. I completely didn't notice this one, but I got lucky that day and flew just a few centimeters above it. As my quite long contract on board neared its end, I received a DJI Action 4 camera which significantly improved the quality of my drone footage. I first flew the Nazgul with this camera attached in Roatan, Honduras. The experience was different as the added weight shifted the drone's center of gravity forward. Periodically, I continued to practice at those locations: Costa Maya, Belize City and Cozumel, Mexico. Just before ending my contract, I also got the GepRC CineLog 35, but I didn't fly it in any of the ports I had mentioned earlier. We will get back to the drone later. After finishing my contract, I moved to Marbella, Spain to settle down here. I arrived at the end of the winter and didn't fly for a while, but one day, while staying at the rented mountain house to celebrate a friend's birthday, I couldn't resist flying with the little Cineon 20 and lost it. Check this out. I took off and flew forward, but when I turned back, I couldn't see our house anymore. I was lost and didn't know where I would flown from. The unfamiliar landscape and my first flight in the mountains threw me off. I searched for the house, but I couldn't find it. And as the battery drained, of course, I crashed. I didn't want to ruin the party by making my friends search for the drone, so I only managed to return 2 weeks later. I parked my car and crossed the mountain river. It is supposed to be somewhere here on this field. After some time browsing around, I found my boy. The battery was dead, of course, and the one motor was broken, but the rest of the drone was fine despite 2 weeks of being on the wet ground. This case taught me another important lesson about FPV. Along with the learning to fly, I also needed to learn how to fix the drones. I'm not an expert at soldering or repairs, but with the right tools I managed to replace the motor and get the drone flying again. As you have probably realized by now, you shouldn't expect any kind of FPV freestyle. In this video, Lo siento, as a videographer, my main focus always has been on cinematic flying, but even with that, things aren't as simple as they seem. Something straightforward as a dive, for example, turns out to be a complex and quite risky thing for me. But anyway, I'm so grateful that after moving to Spain, I gained access to stunning landscapes and, most importantly, breathtaking mountains. Of course, I already had a chance to fly various beautiful locations, and there are countless of them here. But since we are talking about mountains, it's not always easy to get that perfect shots, and there are a few reasons for that. My main issue is still the video signal quality. While with my little Cineon 20 and CineLog 35, the signal is generally stable considering the purpose and flight dynamics, flight distance, the most powerful and fastest Nazgul loses video connection almost instantly with the slightest obstacle. And yeah, this really limits my ability to get those perfect shots because losing the drone in such conditions becomes a real possibility. Another question is the legality of flying. The main goal behind my plan to start flying FPV was to offer this option to my clients. For commercial work I also use a regular DJI Air 2S, which also requires me to have a certificate and registration. Well, I completed the training and registered with ESA. I always keep these documents in my gear bag. I also have stickers with my number on each quad, but these documents still don't give me the freedom to fly wherever I want. Before each flight I have to check if the area is restricted, and even if there are no official restrictions in the region, there is a high chance that a private property will be nearby and the owners are unlikely to appreciate loud buzzing, monster flying overhead. They could also call the police, for example, and I definitely don't want that. The point is, finding a comfortable place to practice isn't as easy as it seems. Another nice place, maybe it's not the most beautiful place in these mountains, this valley or course of the river. Anyway, you see these stones, it looks pretty nice, right? I'm gonna try to fly here now and get this shot flying through this tunnel or wherever. Let's see how it goes, so let's try. Overall, here in Marbella, not just the mountains, I have managed to find some great spots over time. For example, I flew my 2-inch Cineon in this park and nobody paid any attention. It's a quiet and not so crowded place, so any of my bigger drones would have caused quite a bit of noise. But with those I can easily fly at the large field nearby, an ideal spot to test the Nazgul or CineLog 35 after repairs or tweaking the GPS rescue feature or just for general practice. The signal is excellent here, no obstacles, perfect for smooth flights. However, flying here for too long can get a bit boring. For more challenging flights, there is a skate park and spot with the great loops, though I'm still struggling with those, maybe because they are too close to the road, I don't know. There is also the endless beach, promenade and even some grassy areas, though I don't particularly like flying in the resort part of the town, most of the time it's pretty crowded here. Recently I found another spot with a bando. It's also a great place to practice without worrying too much about crashes. I have had a couple of minor ones here already. One case though was pretty mysterious, I still can't get exactly what happened. It wasn't just the trees that caused the video feed to cut out, it felt like Nazgul decided to take a nap mid-flight. There is also this cool tunnel under the highway and the area around it. By the way, I found out that there are actually 2 tunnels here. Overall, it's another great open space for training. And going back to the mountains, there are still so many places I need to fly. Today in this video we will try to conquer one of them. So this is the must-seen place here in Easton. It's located on the top of the mountain, right in the beginning of the huge lake that goes directly to the Mediterranean Sea. It's pretty windy here. I flew here already a couple of times, and the obvious thing that any FPV drone pilot would do here is try to dive this rock all the way down. But the problem here is the bad video transmission signal. As soon as I get to the bottom, I'm losing my video signal at all, and it creates high risk to lose the drone, which I don't want to. Today I came here again. I want to try to do it one more time. Let's see how does it work today, but I really doubt that anything changed. I expect to have the same result. Let's try and then we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, so miracle didn't happen as expected. As soon as I get closer to the bottom, I'm losing the video signal, so I cannot do this dive perfectly. While I was coming here, I noticed there is another viewpoint over there. It's a bit lower, but it's located right on top of that gorge that I want to fly through. So let's go there and check if we can take off over there. Yeah, this spot seems to be better. Here I have better access to this gorge that I want to fly through. This is good. The issue that I don't have so much space here to land. I need some soft ground for the landing because I'm still bad with the landing. So I see some soft ground over there. Okay, I will try to land there. And of course the wind, you probably can also feel it. It's pretty strong headwind from the seaside that also brings extra challenges for me with the landing. But all the worries aside, I was here so many times already, I just must do that. So let's take off. Woo. Oh, it's so windy, man. Okay, let's try to dive. Go! Yeah, definitely the signal strength is much better here, no interruptions at all. Well, at least this modest challenge can be considered completed. Congrats to myself, and let's fly one more time. Okay, the last thing that we haven't done, just need to land. Oh man, this wind is crazy. I cannot land. Okay, careful, and bam! Not bad, not bad. It was a nice landing, huh? It wasn't bad. Of course, it's way far from perfect shot, but for the first time, it's not that bad. Definitely, I will be coming back here from time to time, and I will try to get to the bottom of this lake, because from there I expect to have much better video transmission, so I will definitely come back here one day. But for today, for now, for this video, for this episode, I believe is more than enough, so let's wrap the things up. I think that's enough talking for today. I'll probably shoot an episode with updates on my FPV experience later. For now, as always, thanks for watching this video until the end. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so we can meet again in the next one. My name is Vlad, I'm a videographer. Love you all. Bye bye for now.